G'day guys, I am out here with the intention of testing out some rooftop tent setup and pack up times compared to how I used to camp with the swag and the stretcher bed. Not trying to convince anyone that either is better or worse than the other, just gonna present the same facts that have been presented in hundreds of other videos, because why not? I saw an overcrowded marketplace, an over-discussed topic, and I thought, me too. So anyway, just going to show you some setup and pack up times of a Super Slimline rooftop tent, where you can either use it with an inflatable mattress or its standard mattress. The benefit of the inflatable mattress is that you can keep bedding in there, but obviously it takes time to inflate and deflate compared to how I used to set up, which is the swag on the stretcher bed. You'll see it, it'll be here in the video. You'll understand when you see it. Maybe you already understand because you understand what a swag is and a stretcher bed is, and you can combine those concepts. Cool. I'm going to rattle through this stuff pretty quick because it's all been covered before. The rooftop tent, so the main reasons for me, time and space, and the reason those hold a lot of weight for me is because often I'm filming stuff, so I really want to get up and go first thing in the morning. I tend to move around a bit. I'm not really setting up a base camp. If you're setting up a base camp, swag and stretch bed shits all over a rooftop tent. Set it up once, pack it up once. Now with the time for packing up, it's not all about the actual time because you have to be somewhere, but say if it's a storm pissing down with rain, this is one of those things that sort of bumped me over the edge and made me want to change, because I was packing up this in a storm. It takes a long time. Floor mat was all wet, and then in my rear toolbox that just kind of like puddles down the bottom there, and then everything in there's wet, which is fine. Everything in there can get dirty, but it's annoying having to dry it and clean it out later. Obviously rooftops are quicker to set up, they are quicker to pack away. That is a generic statement. It depends on what you're doing. So the swag for me takes longer because I put a floor mat out and a stretcher bed. If I just rolled the swag out, I actually reckon the swag would be quicker. It's all relative to what you do with it. So time, for me, it's quicker because I use a stretch bed and the floor mat, and because I'm only getting a clamshell, which means I only have to stand on the back of the car and close the one hinge. If you get into your more advanced sort of X hinges, not that advanced, but you have a lot of different styles, and I'm talking about hard shells, obviously. Your soft shell fabric ones are even worse than a swag. Space was the other big one for me. I'll show you in a second the space comparison in the other side of the canopy, where is my free storage. So the space was probably the main one. Time came in just shortly after that. This is what the car looks like with the swag and stretch bed in there. I also packed in an ensuite tent, camp chair, the porta potty. A lot of places they'll come around and check you have one of those. And there's a stand-up paddleboard, inflatable one at the back there. It's chockers. I don't even have the hot water system in here at the moment. I've packed it pretty well because I'm kind of used to how it packs. And I like, in some ways, having everything there because there's less sort of movement allowable because everything's packed in there. If I want to get to anything individually, I can't. I have to come out and go back in a really specific order, especially at the back here, like these ones. There's a little bit of room to the headboard. At the back, they're kind of hard up on the headboard. This is my charging station where my power is. It is annoying not having floor space here because this stuff shifts forward a little bit when you're driving. That was one thing that annoyed me. This is an 1100. But the 900, although it would take 200 off, it's still got the stretcher bed and everything, and the 900 would be less comfortable for actually sleeping in. So this is how I used to camp. Again, I can do it. There is nothing wrong with it. It keeps everything inside, out of the weather, off the roof, so it's better for fuel economy and all that sort of stuff. Just thought I'd give you a look at how packed it is, keeping in mind I normally might have some more stuff like a hot water system. Guitar, if I wanted to put a guitar in here, it basically takes up that whole width from shelf to there. And again, another awkward thing to have to take out as you're trying to get to other stuff for a quick day stop or whatever. Anyway, that's what it used to look like. So this is it without those two things in there. As much as I love the time-saving aspect of the rooftop, this is one of the main reasons, was actually the space that it created in here. Just because I can fit everything in here doesn't mean I should. I want dead space. And this isn't necessarily how I'd pack it. This is just showing you all that extra room. It allows me room to move things around, set up things here when I'm charging stuff, when I'm having a shower, put like the bucket goes here with water in it, just so the pickup hose can reach. It's just so much easier to maneuver things around, and the space for filling equipment to lay it down and work off it and stuff like that is also good. I never used to have a laundry solution really. I just chucked them in the back on the footwell here, which is fine. But I do have the option of this pop-up thing now that kind of fits in here, and you release the toggles, that concertina's out. I find it more enjoyable not having all this stuff in here, potential source of dirt and mud or whatever into the canopy when it's wet, like it is today. I could have put roof bars on, put a swag on the roof. But knowing that I can fit it in here, I will, because I would take that fuel economy benefit every day of the week. Tying the swag to the roof, although it would free up space in here, it doesn't solve the time issue. It actually makes the time issue worse. And then I'm adding the added fuel cost as well from the swag wind resistance. If I had the choice between a swag here and a swag on the roof, I would always choose here, even though I give up that space. Going back to time, it helps me with the time it takes me to move things around, as well as sorting out my camera gear at the end of the day and offloading footage and all that sort of stuff. Everything is made quicker by having the space, having the dead space, not using up every single inch of space that you have. As far as comfort, that's another thing people talk about all the time, saying that rooftops are more comfortable. Not really. I don't think anything is as comfortable as a swag on a stretcher bed. Now, that's within reason as well, because some rooftops, 120 kilos, you can fit proper mattresses and toppers and doonas, so yeah. But for your basic entry-level rooftop tent with those high-density foam that they claim is memory foam sort of mattress, swag on a stretcher bed shits all over it. Rooftops can't even compare until you get to the really thick, heavy stuff, which I don't want to deal with because I don't want that weight on my car at the moment. On a camper trailer or something, different story. Time is all relative, so is comfort, because I think comfort in a swag on a stretcher bed is better than anything else. But generally speaking, swag on the floor, a rooftop's going to beat it because it's consistent, it's flat, and it's dry. So cost is a massive one. This is actually more expensive now, but when I bought it was about $600. It's the Dutch Evolution 1100. The rooftop tent, I think I paid $2,400 for it. So that's on the cheaper side of things, kind of entry level, but that's what, 4 times the price of that. And then you have additional costs in fuel economy. So that is relevant. It keeps adding up. If you store your swag inside a car, that's not an issue. If you store this on your roof, then it is an issue, and this will add to your fuel economy. So it will be pretty comparable, but the difference is that you can take this off more easily at the end of a trip and put it back on at the end of a trip. So the weight up there, it's a lot heavier. These two combined is about 28 kilos that I removed from the car. That is actually a really lightweight rooftop tent. So with the mattress and the rainfly poles and everything, it's about 54 kilos. So yeah, I've added a little bit of weight, and it is in a bad spot because it's up high. But if you keep your swag on the roof, that's up high as well. However, it is probably maybe a quarter of the weight of a really slimline one. Weight is a thing, both in the amount and its location. People say that rooftops give you better views. That can be true, but the swag can be moved into more unique locations. It can be moved into more useful locations. You can move it around the leeward side, use the car as a wind block. Or if you find like a big sort of rock slab or something, you can get your swag right up next to it to protect it from the wind or rain or whatever. So swags are more flexible in where you can put them. You can walk them out into the bush. You can only get your car into certain locations, and that obviously is the limit about where your rooftop tent can go. As far as packing stuff inside, I pack away a sleeping bag in this. It's fine. Some slimline tents you can't do that. Most of them I'd say you can get away with a basic sleeping bag, but when you get it to your thicker doonas you can't. I pack stuff inside the swag. I wouldn't say you're going to pack full blanket set and everything, but sleeping bag's normally enough for me because the swag stays warmer. Rooftops, you're dealing with worse condensation than you get in the swag. It's impossible to say definitively that, oh, such and such is better than whatever, because it depends on the rooftop, it depends on the swag. But generally speaking, less condensation, more warmth. So you can get away with packing less in there because you're going to stay warmer anyway. This is 1100, you can go even smaller, like a 900, there's just less air in there to try and keep warm. The rooftops get a bit colder, they're up higher, they have that airflow underneath them as well. I kind of do with the stretch bed. As far as weatherproofness, I've never had an issue with the swag, except that one time, which was probably, could have been condensation. It was a really heavy storm. It could have been water pooling on the stretcher bed, you know, eventually working its way in through a seam or something. I'm not actually sure. It didn't disturb my sleep at all. I didn't notice it until the morning. It was just a little puddle under the mattress, I guess you could say. So, but yeah, I just tipped it out. It wasn't an issue. I haven't had rooftop tents long enough to comment on them, but most people seem to think they're pretty waterproof. Camping in the wet, that sort of side of it is better on the rooftop, but you do have to find your car some level ground, otherwise it's a bit of an awkward sleep. I manage okay with my head at either end, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Because it's just me in there, I can sleep diagonally as well. If that gets me a better night's sleep, then I'll do that. Yeah, there's options, but generally speaking, you want to be on pretty level ground. Obviously, security, safety, whatever you want to call it, never having to look for dry ground again, that's an added benefit. The ability to just pull up into like a rest stop, 24-hour rest stop, open the thing and jump in, that is a lot better. Like you don't normally pull up, roll a swag out at a rest stop. You're kind of tending to find a campsite, which is a bit of a pain. Not to say it hasn't been done. So with the rooftops as well, these clamshells, they are normally 3 entries. If you have a big 270 awning like I do, and you want to use the rear entry for whatever reason, you can't use the side, or you want to still access that canopy door or car door, then you need a rear entry awning with the zips, otherwise you can't leave your 270 awning set up. I don't tend to set up my 270 awning that often, so it's not an issue for me, especially now that I'm not in the swag. I'm not going to have it set up overnight. It's just a chance for it to get damaged in the wind when I'm not watching it, and it's not protecting anything. So if you were staying in a spot for longer and you wanted your 270 awning set up and you had to use the rear entry so you can still access car doors or canopy doors, you need a different awning. So that's pretty much it. We've covered comfort, we've covered the fuel, the security. Not that I've ever felt unsafe in a swag, but for instance, in those 24-hour rest stops, it is easier just to jump in a rooftop and feel a bit more safe. Space, warmth, cost, ongoing costs. Car handling is the other one, obviously, with the amount of weight and where it is. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers all of the basics on the debate. The rooftop tent that I have on there at the moment is a Slimline. I am actually in the process of changing that. So I'm gonna have another video about the Slimline rooftop versus the next one that I go to. And they're both slim, but this is like super slim. 120 mil, the other one's more like 160 mil. Just wanted to make this video generically about swags and rooftops and show you some actual real world examples of a super slimline rooftop tent and how quickly it packs up, as well as how quickly it takes to set up, both with an air mattress and with its built-in mattress. I don't carry a ladder, so this is how I actually use it. This bit can be awkward. And time. Obviously I just gotta take my shoes off in the shoe bag, but to save them getting dirty because all the ground's wet today, I'm not gonna do that. Standard built-in mattress, 8 minutes 20, 8 minutes 30, something like that. I was a little bit slow to get the shoe thing in, and the back of my canopy is slippery, but this is how I actually use it without the ladder. And obviously you could do it quicker with the ladder. These poles would go in a bit easier. I only grabbed 2 of these because I didn't want to mess around with the long poles and the short poles, getting them mixed up. So I just grabbed the 2 long ones, then I got down and grabbed the short ones. Would be quicker if you grabbed all 4. I just like knowing I have the ones that I need. It took me ages to get this long one in this corner here, just because the way it is, it's not an eyelet like these side ones, it's like a fabric. This is that bit of fabric that sometimes gives me trouble because that lip is sort of like curled in and you want it to sort of open up a bit so you can get the thing in. You can put this side in first, but I prefer getting the base in before I put that side in. So this test is with the normal mattress packing up. Because of that, it won't close with the sleeping bag in there. Now you can just rip the sleeping bag out, throw it in the back of the car somewhere. That depends completely on your setup, what else you got in there, how much it's going to be blocking out the stuff, how dirty everything is that it's going to be touching. But I'm going to be rolling it up, which is what I would normally do, is I would roll it up, pack it up. So that's what I'm going to be timing. So start that bad boy. Okay, so that's the time, 2 minutes 50, just to do a bloody sleeping bag. Normally that goes in a bag, but I didn't do it last time, so it wouldn't be fair to do it this time. You can lay these down in the tent as well, but I normally keep them up here. Don't want them tearing away the mattress or anything. Time is 7 minutes 45. So there you go. And start. And time. That is 7 minutes and 18 seconds. So it's a lot quicker to inflate the mattress than it is to deflate it. I think I've got it pretty well right. You can dial it in pretty close with just your breath or using that electric blower, I think, if you're careful. mattress will be fine. So you can see the thickness of the mattress there. This is a 100mm Dutch 1100 wide. So realistically, when you're packing up, if you wanted a thick sleeping bag, Dutch Cold Mountain 900, minus 12 degrees Celsius. So that's what I managed to fit in there, which is plenty for me, because if it's really cold, I have thermals on, I'll have this, and even a sleeping bag liner, and all of that I can pack up. With this Supreme Snoozer 1100, some of the bedding will shuffle down here. Add that with the deflated mattress and it'll close up well enough. Very nice and comfortable. The only issue I haven't solved yet is I can get this blower nozzle onto there perfectly, and it has a proper connection because that's the way it's supposed to be used. But to deflate, you are using the inlet valve. So I can still get this end on to the valve perfectly. That hangs there. I've taped it up to close any gaps, but this end does not seal on there. I kind of have to hold it. It's kind of awkward. And there probably are other blowers that do that better, do a better job of it. But whether they coincidentally also fit the valve here or not, I'm not sure. So you could test out a few blowers. That works for me. I can't show you now because I need 2 hands to do it. But when I'm deflating, I have to hold that on there. It's quick enough, but it could be quicker if that locked on. Then you'd get a better air seal and it would deflate quicker. All right guys, just wanted to interject about the inflatables quickly. I was saying that this end will not fit over the inlet valve, but it also comes with, this extension does fit over the inlet valve, and it does actually snap into place, but this end here does not fit over the mattress. It also comes with this extension here, which again will fit over the inlet valve, but again won't fit the air mattress properly. But you can buy this from Zempire. This does fit in that valve. This is a lot of hassle, but if you really wanted to, this does fit in that valve. And then you can kind of do it one-handed by pressing that onto that, because this smooth end will be in the mattress. Or you can set up the Zempire thing like that, DeWalt blower set up like that. This smooth bit would be in the air mattress, and then you can press them on tighter sort of fit and do it with one hand. Personally, that's a lot of hassle. I would only travel with this bit, and then I would just hold it there. But there are options. You do need a third-party adapter from Zempire. Really convoluted way of doing it, but I just wanted to throw that in there. Just to show you now, mattress deflated. This isn't fully deflated. It'd be pretty close to it, but that's just what I did with the blower. And this is how I would close it with this sleeping bag inside, not the pillows. It actually gets a little bit shorter as well, as it's sort of concertinas. So you do get a little bit of extra headroom for fabric, like for the door to sit in, which helps it close, I think. All right, this is the air mattress pack up test. Sleeping bag stays inside. Can't remember where I put this bag, so I'm just pretending I still have it. Boom, ready to drive. 8 minutes 56 there with the air mattress. To tell you the truth, it was a bit of pressure on closing that, so possibly I needed to deflate it even a little bit more. But that is the benefit with the air mattress, is that big thick sleeping bag still in there. Pillow comes out, not an issue for me because I like to use the pillow to protect things buffeting around on the shelf there. So you can get away with a slimline like this. And this is a really slim line with an inflatable mattress. It'll take you about 8 or 9 minutes to pack up. Now you did see there some of the hassle with packing up that skirting, which I don't like, around the outside, having to go around and push it up. Yeah, it's not perfect. So it was 8 minutes 28 to set it up. It was 7 minutes 50 to pack it down. That's with the normal mattress. I probably could have set it up a little bit quicker, maybe 20 seconds or so, but give or take, the normal mattress, having to unroll and roll up the sleeping bag. To set up with the air mattress is a minute quicker, 7 minutes 20, because the sleeping bag's already in there. I'm surprised actually that it's that much quicker. That's just what the numbers are showing me. And 9 minutes to pack up air mattress. But again, when I did it the second time off camera, just to get rid of the air mattress, I did it a lot quicker because I'd already played around with it. Bonus is you don't have to pack up your sleeping bag. It takes a little bit longer just to get the air out of that mattress, but it is a more comfortable sleep. I prefer the air mattress regardless. 50mm mattress, I just can't do it. It's not a good enough sleep, so that's an automatic disqualification anyway. But then the air mattress is a good enough sleep. You see how annoying that skirting is as well on the outside there. When I'm standing on the back of the car, I focus on the left-hand side because I can't access it later because of the awning, and the tent is over to the right. It doesn't take up the whole canopy width. So there probably will be some skirting hanging out on this side that I can't get to. And start. 4 latches on this one. All these rain poles are the same, unlike the other one, with the exception of one I've cut for an awning mount. I'll show you later. Two minutes 57, a little bit shorter actually by the time I stop it. So a fair bit quicker. I find the shoe bag goes in easier. The rainfly poles are so much easier because you have this guiding thing. You don't have the skirt sitting in front of it. The C-camp was kind of just like holes drilled into the aluminium. It was really cheap. These are so much easier. Got eyelets on all 4 corners, a lot easier to get in than sort of that fabric sleeve that 2 of the poles had to fit in on the other rooftop. The poles are all the same length as well, so you can grab whatever you want. So that is part of the reason I upgraded, was for the time for setting up, but it's more about the pack up, which we'll get into now. Our Bacteria pack up times now, and we'll start. Just chucking these in because that's what I did with the other one, so it's only fair. Normally I would put the rainfly poles in their little sleeve. And time, that is 2 minutes 56, maybe a little bit less, but the actual times will be on the screen. So you can see the difference with the hinges being external, the fabric being heavier and folding in, the room to leave the sleeping bag in there. The rainfly pole's much easier. There is more latches here. The fabric pushed in a lot easier, and it's easier to see on this sort of clamshell style where it just closes on itself, whereabouts the fabric might be hitting, and in this case it's nowhere. So that is with a Darch negative 12 degrees 900 sleeping bag. I reckon I could even fit a little bit more in there, but you don't want to go crazy. That's plenty warm enough for me with some thermals, maybe a sleeping bag liner as well, and that'll do me for my sleeping gear. So that's the setup time with the semi-slimline. Not as slim as what we had before, but this is part of the reason I wanted to upgrade. It's a lot better than what we were dealing with before. All right guys, so just to summarise the pack up and setup times there, the differences, we got 7 minutes 40 with the C-camp, which is gone now, but 7 minutes 40, original mattress. Changing it out for the inflatable mattress, we saved a bit of time there, but on the pack up it was about 9 minutes flat. And yeah, I could have done it quicker, so you could probably wipe another 20 seconds off that. Similar to the C-camp setup, you could probably wipe another 10 seconds off that if I didn't have so much hassle with the rainfly poles, for example. But in general, they are a hassle to get in, so it's a pretty good representation of how long it actually takes to set up. Inflatable mattress is about 7 minutes 10, give or take, for the setup part of it. And even that I probably could have done in 7 minutes flat if I dialed in the pressure straight away. I kind of had a couple goes at it just to get it just right. So yeah, you're looking at saving about 1 minute and 15 seconds by using the inflatable on the setup. On the pack up, you probably, even with rolling up the sleeping bag, it probably takes about 30 to 40 seconds longer. So overall, you're really splitting hairs. Now, when we come to what's on there now, it's the Outback Tourer 1.2. It's just night and day. We're looking at 2 minutes 55 and 2 minutes 54. So basically, we'll call it 3 minutes to pack up and 3 minutes to set up. And that's because of a lot of reasons, but it's even quicker than my estimates in this video. I estimated it would shave about 2 minutes off the job, but it shaves a lot more off. So when we compare it to the swag, you'll see later on, I estimate it's going to be about half the time. It's actually only about a quarter of the time that it used to take me to do the swag. And I'm a lot quicker at the swag than I am at the rooftops. And start. Now, not everyone does this, I understand that, but I'm comparing it to the way that I used to camp, because that's all that's relevant for me. I don't care what other people do. So, I used to go stretch a bit. Didn't really want to get my mesh dirty today. It's been raining a lot in Perth, so the floor is wet and dirty. Just going to give it some token efforts here. It's about the same time. Yeah, I'm just doing token efforts here to get the basic outline of the time it would take. I'm not too worried about hammering everything in perfectly. Alright, that is basically it. That is 12 minutes 35 now. That's without hammering things in properly. I'm sort of cheating a bit, pretending the sleeping bag was already in there. Some swags, you can roll up the sleeping bag, no worries. Some swags, they won't fit inside their bag again. I've managed to, in the past, roll this up with the sleeping bag in there, with my thermals in there. I'll just roll it all up, force it into the bag. Pretend I added another 20 seconds to hammer them in properly. I used to have a longer mesh come out another 4 foot lengthways. So I had a clean walking area from basically the front door to the rear wheel. And that's basically my living side here with all the kitchen stuff in this canopy door. So that's how I used to do it. 12.5 minutes, about 4.5, 5 minutes longer than the rooftop tents were, but not too bad. I have done it a lot, so I'm probably better at this than I am at setting up the rooftop. But yeah, that's the difference there. 4.5, 5 minutes, give or take, from the sea camp setup. Go. Again, I'm pretending the sleeping bag was in there and that I was going to leave it in there. It's not, so it's going to be easier to roll up than it normally is. I didn't want to roll it up for the video and then have to actually re-roll it up, unroll it, get the sleeping bag out, blah, blah, blah. Good thing about the stretch bed, I've always managed to keep the swag clean. Don't have to roll it this tight normally without a sleeping bag, but I'm pretending there's one in there. So I really would have to go as tight as possible. That would be harder with the... Again, the floor mat now helps me keep the stretcher bed clean. Normally I'd have to dig these out with a hammer as well because I set them a lot deeper, but okay, time 13 minutes. That is 13 minutes to pack up in pretty good conditions where I was pretending the sleeping bag wasn't in there. I hadn't put all the pegs in properly. Pretty similar to the setup time, really. Setup time for the swag and stretch bed and mat and all that is about 13 minutes. Pack up time was about 13 minutes. The rooftop averaging probably closer to 8. And this is keeping in mind a Super Slimline where I'm having to remove the sleeping bag. The tent that I'm changing to, I think it's going to take another 2 minutes off that. So my estimate roughly is that the new rooftop tent that I'm going to get, it's going to be about a 5 or 6 minute sort of job to pack up. That's about half the time of the swag. So if you're doing it in foul weather, it's just so much easier, but it's just easier as well not having to mess around in the dirt. So yeah, that's all the pack up and setup time. I'm just going to put them up here. There's the Slimline, Super Slimline with a inflatable mattress and Super Slimline with its built-in mattress that you can't store anything in. You know, what's important to you, for me, it was time and space, and that's the reason I'm changing to a rooftop, at least for the medium term. I'm not selling my swag or stretch bed or anything like that, so I can always go back to it, and at some point, I'm sure I will. For now, the rooftop, it is working for me. This one specifically, not so much, so I am going to change it, and I'll do another video about that. But in general, rooftop versus swag, I'm happy enough with the rooftop at the moment because it suits what I'm doing. Doesn't mean it's better, it just suits me for now. That's it. There's plenty of options out there, same as there is for swags. My swag, I got it for 600, but I looked the other day, I think it's worth about 900 now, brand new, so it's definitely gone up in price. And I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I wasn't really trying to convince anyone either way. It was just presenting some facts, some times. Hopefully it helps someone somewhere out there. That's it. The swag versus rooftop tent. At the end of the day, it's kind of a bunch of considerations and you assign weight to how important each one is to you. There's no right or wrong. I've given you some stuff to consider, and then you can decide how much each of those individual topics is important to you and how you camp, and then go for it. Obviously, there is a money barrier with the rooftop tents, so that is one thing that would push me to recommending a swag for most people. Even a swag on a stretcher bed with a floor mat is less than half the price of your cheaper rooftop tents. But if you have the money to go for either way and you're not sure what you want, maybe this helped you, maybe it didn't. At the end of the day, you can always make the wrong choice and just go back to what you used to use if you find that you didn't like it. So thanks for watching, I guess. But yeah, so maybe I was missing an anti-condensation stuff that people, you know, what am I trying to say? Like, especially if there is a modifications that can be, we've covered pack, yeah, so